hang on to being angry or resentful at a person who actually presented to you as a mirror what you need to see in yourself, but you're still in denial. They were helpful. They were here. They agreed in a prior life to come and do that service for you, and you're angry at them, and you're fuming, and you're never going to forgive that person? People, that's your lesson. To forgive them. The faster you let go of it emotionally and forgive them and move into the now, you will be ready for ascension. Ascension is about living in the current love of God, not the past and not the future, but right now everything is perfect in God's eyes. And you are a perfect creature as you create a clean and perfect soul in your being. And you all be ready to live in the now where there is no anger, there is no fear, resentments, guilt, all those things that you've been beating yourself up with are just ways that you are to learn to love yourself and send it to others, because they are just a mirror. It's like walking into the fun house down at the Puyallup Fair, all those mirrors in there, and you're distorted, and you don't like what you see in the mirror. Well, now I'm giving you an opportunity to like what you see in the mirror. You can finally see a mirror clearly of who you are. A child of God created in love. You are perfect love. So everything you dispel of that you were here to learn about, your lessons were faith, trust, forgiveness, learning about love and compassion. You are a compassionate person. Why don't you act as if and just move there? And it would be much quicker and easier for your lives to be ready for ascension. Because in the now, you are moving into the grace of God. And there is no fear, there is no anger. It will be as if you are on heaven on earth, and you will have a new life. So I suggest that if you understand that you have actually come to change yourself and not those around you, it doesn't matter what is going on around you, because as you send out love, it will come back. I would just like to add here that it does really work. Some people might say, but, my family did this, my son did that, my whatever did, my boss was so mean, or whatever, I got fired, da-da-da-da. And all of those lessons, and if you reacted and say, oh, there must be a lesson in this, what am I to learn about it, what did I do that I need to change? You know, then as you change, you're going to send out changed energy. I would like you to know that when the disciples called on Jesus, they were in a ship in a rough and turbulent storm in the Sea of Galilee. And they became afraid. And Jesus was woke up, and they said, please calm the seas. And the seas quieted down and were very tranquil and serene and peaceful again. That's what you are doing, people. You are calming the seas around you by changing your inner consciousness, by raising it up into peace and serenity, into the tranquility of not having to react from what's around you, but just say, I know that I am one with God, and understand that. You see, it's not about, as some churches have led you to believe, it's not about a bloody sacrifice of a Savior for your sins. It's about tuning your energy inside to God's. Looking within, you might say, and saving yourself. Atonement is being in tune with the energy of God. And you have that chance for the next 9 months to continually tuning up your consciousness. That sounds kind of nice. Anyway, I would like to go through the 5 stages of initiation because you have all been in different and various parts of this. And I think that you are all having things come to the surface that you might want to better understand what's going on with me. All ascended masters have gone through these initiations. And the first one is birth. Birth does not mean your birth on earth. Birth means when you first accepted to have God or love in your heart, when you accepted that it was there, you birthed your heart, you birthed your spiritual growth. And it is the day and time you say, God, I need you, I'm needing help, something's wrong, can you be there for me? When you truly, consciously, instead of just wandering around in the darkness, say, I'm ready to turn on the light of your love, and have that be who I am, that inner light today. So you see, it's not a December day in the darkness of winter, which is really kind of strange if you think of the story being that the lambs and the shepherds were out there in their fields. I don't remember any shepherd being out there during the snow. So you see, the stories have been mostly allegorical rather than specific, and some people take it so literally. But it's the birth in your heart that matters. When Marilyn had a situation and said, God, please help me, I really don't want to die, that was the birth of her wanting to come into Christ consciousness. And then the doors can open for the things to change. The next change is baptism. And it is not the typical baptism you find in a church, where the minister puts the water over the child's head. It's when you are ready to submerge your spirit into the spiritual waters. When you say, I am ready to grow spiritually in the nurturing, watering water of God, that I can now dispel the negative energies and change that ego, materialism, other focuses that take me off God, and I can wash them away with the waters of God. And so you see, baptism is often, a child can be baptized, but it's not until it comes into your heart that it makes a difference. You see, Marilyn had a fellow on her radio show at one time, and he was talking about the afterlife of what happens when people do not go into a place they would like to be on the other side. And he says they can come out of that place immediately as soon as they have a change of heart. So you see, immersing yourself in the waters of God changes and cleanses your heart in steps that you need to take, which has taken thousands of years. And as you go through that process, it's called transfiguration. That's the third initiation. You are transfiguring the negative energy and replacing it with the positive light and love of God. And you are transforming yourself. As you do that, you become lighter. The light starts to shine. You become a light worker. And you start connecting with your ascended masters, and they will help guide you through the necessary processes of what's still left in your life to take care of, so your soul's purpose that you are here for, that your individual negative energy can finally be cleaned out. You will be sent to the right places, see the right people, and be in the right spots of necessary help that's available for this. Your guides and ascended masters work very hard to help you. If you want to hear about a story that is amazing to Marilyn, she needed help desperately in working on what she called her arthritis problem, and at 2 o'clock in the morning the phone rang, and her master called her from Tibet and said, she'd been crying and screaming for 2 hours, and he says, do you need help? Because she wasn't using medications to stop the pain. And she definitely said, yes, I need help. So you see, they are there for you. She says, how did you know about me? And he said, I got your phone number in my meditation. I was to call you. So you are never alone through this journey. When it says in the 23rd Psalms, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. You see, you have company with you as you're walking through the fear, for the light to finally take its place and finally be who you truly are. So you are changing, and you are becoming a light worker, and other people will see your light, and you will change what is around you, just like Jesus changed the waters to calm. You will change the people around you from your love that you're sending out into an environment of love. You are bringing heaven to earth through all of these experiences, and not holding others at as if they're the bad guy, but you're seeing them as, oh, this is another opportunity to bring light into my life and to see that part of me which I have not been loving, and to send love to that part of me, because I can't be whole if I don't love the good of me and the not so good of me. Some people say there's a little good in all of us and a little bad in all of us. Well, I want you to know that's true. And that badness has to be loved into goodness, and so you can become whole. Don't deny it. Don't put it under the rock and say it belongs to somebody else's problem. It's your problem. It's your life. And you need to be sure that your light is growing and expanding. And as you come through this transfiguration, that some people call it, battling the ego, or whatever you choose to, how you want to term your struggles, you will come to a point where your light will be so bright that others might take offense. And you all very well know that when Jesus was crucified, the next initiation is crucifixion, that the Bible has definitely also distorted some of that message. The churches, I should say, have distorted the message behind the spiritual ascension that is going on in this case. As he released the ego, material world, and fears, and became truly the light of the world, if you're in the darkness, this can be very scary. And so therefore people were threatened. And there was a crucifixion. The real part of the crucifixion is that he changed his consciousness above third dimension duality of good and bad, right and wrong, criticism, judgment of what they were doing to him. He rose above it into compassion. And he said, God, forgive them, for they know not what they do. They were acting out from their ego and their pains. But he didn't take it on, because at that point he says, it is finished. And at that point he moved into the grace of God, where there is no pain. And that is the beautiful message of Easter, which we are approaching. You are moving out of your painful life into a life where there is no pain. Now today the crucifixion looks a little different. You might be condemned by people, criticized, judged, slandered, labeled, jailed, arrested, imprisoned. Various ways of being crucified for what you believe and what you're going through. And people not understanding this journey yet. And so it is possible to be crucified in this culture without a cross. So may I suggest you get off your crosses and give the wood to someone else. It's time to know that you could have possibly, instead of being on that cross with Jesus, maybe someone has given you a tongue lashing It's not maybe with the throngs of a whip,